to another episode of the Football Hideout. Today we'll be discussing the return of Zidane at Real Madrid. Here I'm joined by Sam, Richie and Eliott. So I'm going to start with you, Richie. 9 months break from Zidane, now he's back. What do you think of it?
I think like many of us, it came as a bit of a shock. News broke so quickly. I think it was obviously clear that Phalora wasn't going to be staying at the end of the season. But what is more baffling is that they offered him a 3-year contract when they appointed Phalora, so it's just short-term options just were lacking, and to give him a 3-year deal, a Phalora deal, and then now obviously Zidane's still 2022, so there is at least some idea of the future coming into place at Real Madrid.
So when Zidane announced his departure 9 months ago, he claimed that he couldn't take his team any more forward. There was time to step away. So now that he's back, is there much difference between now and then?
I think that one of the main reasons why he left was because of Perez not giving him the budget. We saw in the summer that they didn't replace Ronaldo. They only bought Courtois and Vinicius, which in my opinion wasn't enough to replace Ronaldo. What they've got now is a team which is experienced but is going over the experience where it's ageing, and they've got young players coming through such as Reguilón, Llorente, Vinicius, and I'm not sure if it's good enough at the minute, and I'm not sure why he's taking the job now when they don't have a competition to play in. So it doesn't make sense to me yet.
When he was back in charge, Ronaldo was obviously getting a lot of their goals, contributing a lot offensively. Eliott, do you think that's a massive factor down to Zidane's success?
Well, it certainly was, because you can't replace Ronaldo unless you have the equivalent of Messi. And when you have Benzema, who hasn't been the predominant goal threat he has been in the past, and then you have a injury-prone Bale, it's difficult to recover from the 40 goals that Ronaldo scores every season. So obviously that does bring them down a peg compared to the previous seasons.
So Richie, how do you think Zidane can now take this team even more forward?
It's difficult, because I think what Zidane is good at is his man management skills. And he's not necessarily the greatest tactician, but I think football nowadays isn't all about great tactics. It's about getting the players to work and making them believe that they're the best. And that's maybe why you're seeing the faltering of some of the older players. Maybe Luka Modric is having his best season. Marcelo's came back overweight. He's been dropped for Reguilón, as Sam alluded to earlier, and Casemiro has been dropped for Marcos Llorente. So I think Zidane has a big job ahead, because how do you judge these players now? I think that's why they brought him in now, because to give these players sort of another chance till the end of the season. That way, in the summer, he can fully assess his options. And yeah, like Zidane's appointment isn't a good thing for the likes of Ceballos, James, who's come back in the summer, Llorente, because they weren't in the side when he was there. He went for the more experienced and the players who he trusted, like Marcelo, Casemiro, Cruz, etc., who have faltered this season. So it'll be a very big task in the summer, because Real Madrid do need to reinforce heavily into this one.
Which areas in the squad do you think they should reinforce the most?
In attacking areas, as we've previously mentioned, that they lack goals. So I think obviously Hazard isn't going to get you 40 goals, but he'll certainly get you to a closer level than, let's say, Lucas Vázquez is currently putting in, and even Gareth Bale. Like he hasn't found consistency in this game due to injuries. So yeah, I think attacking areas, also that defence. This season they've been really found out. So we've got a centre back in Nacho. He's not very good, and people keep alluding to his age and still think he's a young player, but the guy's 29. And I think Real Madrid now are at the stage where they need players. They've been linked to Militao from Porto, who can play centre back and right back, so that's a good option. But I think they're covered in the main areas. So in goal they have a Courtois. Centre back I think they need to reinforce, because Ramos is ageing, Vallejo's mainly injured, and then apparently there's rumours of Marcelo leaving. So probably in that the right back, the centre back, and then the left back area, alongside the central midfielders, as their midfielders aging and they need to be replaced. And in attacking areas, probably go for like Hazard.
Sam, there's a lot of rumours as soon as Zidane took over that he'll be handed a lot of money for the upcoming transfer window. So what kind of players do you think they can attract?
I think the number one target should be a striker. I'm not sure about Hazard because they've got Vinicius, they've got players such as the Hazard. Icardi would be my number one target because Benzema just doesn't score enough goals. He's not what he used to be. He's not a proven goal scorer anymore. And Icardi is a player who's not playing at Inter because of obvious reasons, and he would link up well with the midfield, the wingers. So Icardi would be number one. Then I know Hazard wants to go to Real Madrid. Zidane wants Hazard. So if they get Hazard, then I think that would work well. I think they need another centre back because Ramos is getting on, as Richie said. Varane, I don't think is as good as everyone says. So another centre back is needed, as well as a replacement for Marcelo.
Eliott, with Zidane coming back into the club where he's obviously successful in his previous spell, is it a risk for him to come back?
It is, but it was a risk in the first place for him to go there and return to untarnished. The way if he failed, then his legacy as a player would have somewhat been untarnished because of the arrogance that the Real Madrid fans have. This is all about winning, and Nacho has proven in this past season again how like. Yeah, at the weekend there was a video of Bale leaving the training ground, or I think it was like the stadium, and there's a couple of fans who were abusing him as he drove away. So there is that element, but they have to trust him because it is well known that this team is now at the end of its era. So they have to bring new life back to it. Let the new players in the summer to mould into the team, and let Zidane almost create a new Real Madrid, which we haven't seen which is not the same Real Madrid for the past 5-6 years.
You said it's the end of a new era where they need new energy, new faces. Who would you take out of the team that should be sold, in your opinion?
I think in terms of who needs to take a step back is Benzema. His time at the club is probably coming to an end. You can also look at, like as Richie said, like players like Nacho, who are seen as like rotation sort of players who are now just coming to the end of their usefulness at Real Madrid. And you can even look at Marcelo, who has been rumoured to link away. So in these positions, they can start to bring new faces in and to rejuvenate the club. So then they can challenge Barcelona again.
And obviously the obvious one is Gareth Bale.
And
it's quite clear. Zidane doesn't fancy. He dropped him numerous times for someone he can trust more in terms of Lucas Vazquez.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be. I'm pretty sure he wants him out, but it'll be very difficult to find a buyer to match the price Real Madrid want and to match the wages Bale wants, alongside getting rid of James.
Yeah.
That's also another one because he was also out of favour at Real Madrid. They sold him, they loaned him to get Dani Ceballos. It's sort of the Real Madrid model, how they went for younger, talented Spanish players. You got Teo, you got Ceballos, you got Llorente. So that model they're working towards, and I think they'll go back to that model because it seemed to work.
Okay. That sort of concludes our discussion about Real Madrid. Now we're going to move on to other managers in the game who are also looking for a new job, or the manager merry-go-round which may occur in the summer. We're going to start with Jose Mourinho, who was obviously linked with the Real Madrid job as soon as they exited the Champions League. Where do you think, Sam, Jose Mourinho has a future at which club, at which country?
Well, we all thought that Jose was going to Real Madrid, so it came as a surprise with the Zidane news. Obviously, people in the Real Madrid camp didn't want Mourinho, such as Ramos, Marcelo, the key figures. So I don't know where Jose is going next. Inter could be a possibility of a return. Spalletti isn't doing as well as he should be at Inter. I'm not quite sure where else he could go, because Bayern have now started playing well with Kovac. PSG, Tuchel is about to sign a new contract. So it's running out of options really for Jose. Juve could be an option, but after what he did to the fans in the group stages with his hand to the ear, I wouldn't say that was a good idea. So, and with the style of play now, it's quite outdated. So I'm not sure what the future has for Jose.
I'm not even sure what top club would employ him, to be honest, anymore. I think he talked about in an interview how he wants to work with a proper structure, but he sort of had that at Chelsea, and look how he had that. Look how he ripped it apart. You know, Chelsea had a structure in place where they signed the younger talented players like Courtois, De Bruyne, Lukaku, and he tore it apart. So I think it's more, as Sam alluded to there, he's outdated, and I'm not really sure what top club would trust him anymore. With the talented players, as you've seen now with Rashford, Martial, they're all flourishing under a manager that allows them to play, allows them to be free. Whereas under Mourinho, they were literally hands behind their back, chasing their fullback, left wing back, right wing back. So I think the Italian league definitely does suit him. So yeah, that could definitely be an option.
The only place I can see him going is like a club like Atletico Madrid, where he's like almost an underdog, because he thrives off that. But as like with Diego Simeone, he won't be leaving there anytime soon unless he chooses to leave. So then you're just looking at like the B. Well, you have the league, then you have like the teams below that. So like again, like you could maybe like Inter Milan, but then obviously will he do that to Inter Milan? Does he care about that? He did leave on good terms. Like Roma, but then Roma doesn't have the stature. So you can just look at like the teams below the elite and whether he will be willing to take the step down from the Manchester United, Real Madrid level to then go into that.
I think he sort of thrives with that underdog team. You know, you saw with Porto, underdogs, Champions League winners, Inter Milan, treble winners.
Yeah.
They were the underdogs. You know, Barcelona, again that famous night with Barcelona. But I think Inter could go for him, especially if they want to convince or try to convince Icardi to stay.
Yeah.
Maybe the striker would like to play under a manager of that stature, who obviously moulded Drogba into a player he is today. Maybe he could do that sort of same thing with a player like Icardi. So, and also he has a very, very special connection with the fans.
Yeah.
So that could also be a very, very big advantage for Mourinho going to.
Do you not see Inter Milan a bit too much of a bigger drop in terms of his teams that he's managed, and they're not the same Inter Milan that they were a few years ago?
I wouldn't say so. I think there's enough money that Inter have been thrown recently to give him the possibility to not say challenge, but at least hit the Napoli stage where, okay, they're not going to win the title, but at least to close that gap. So I think that could be an option.
Okay. Another manager, another team that Zidane was also linked with was Juventus, and obviously Massimo Allegri's manager. There's been reports and rumours that he'll be leaving at the end of the season. So if that does happen, do you think Mourinho would then actually go there? Or is that a definite no-no after what you've done in the Champions League?
I wouldn't. If I was to say, I think Serie A is his sort of level now. I think he has sort of his philosophy in terms of sitting back and hitting teams on the counter-attack. It's very much suited to their league. I don't see him going to Juve because I don't think he really got along with Ronaldo, and obviously he's a huge personality in that team. I would, as I said earlier, I would see him at Inter, and then if Gattuso doesn't continue, possibly Conte at AC Milan, which would be another fierce rivalry, and obviously given the history they had last year, it would be very interesting.
Sam, do you think, as Richard just pointed out about Antonio Conte, do you think there's a return back to Serie A for him?
Yeah, I can see him going Juventus. If Allegri leaves, he obviously has the history with Juve. He went unbeaten with Juve. And he still is a good manager, and he still does deserve that big club after what he did at Chelsea. So I think that Juve would be the perfect club for him because of his system. He plays five at the back. He's rather defensive. It would be like Juve of old, but with the players he's got there, I'm not quite sure it would work. But Serie A would definitely be his stomping ground.
Eliott, there's so many names, rumours. Massimo Allegri could potentially leave. So if he does, do you think Juventus manager's job is too easy for anyone to come in? Is there much of a challenge now that you've got the best players in the world?
It's in terms of like they do have the best, it is undeniable they do have the best team in Italy. When you have a strike force with Ronaldo, Dybala, and the likes of Pjanic, Matuidi in central midfield, Chiellini, and so on. They do have the best squad, so it is easier because you do have the best team, but then you do have to execute them as a cohesive unit and make sure the chemistry and make sure they're not too arrogant going into the season because they've like won six consecutive league titles. So it is almost impressive that they haven't got too arrogant. Like last season, Napoli was leading the title race for most season. So then that almost provided an extra motivation to trying to prove like we are still the top dogs of this league, and you're not taking that away from us. So then if that mentality continues, then yeah, it should be just an easy, it is an easy win.
I think Juve, I think they need a manager. Well, I think anyone that goes there is guaranteed to win the league and probably the Coppa d'Italia. I think the big one is the Champions League. They arrived in the last 4 years twice to the final. They lost both. I think Allegri sort of got outclassed in both, let's be honest. So I think if they were to go for a manager now, it's sort of the case for Ronaldo. Like, I think he went there to win the Champions League. Because to go there, stat pad, to get a few goals, it's not really worth it for him. Like, if he was to go there, he should have only went to win the Champions League because that's been a real backburner for Juve these past couple of seasons. And yeah, I think so they really need to hone in on the Champions League, and they got a great opportunity. Well, they're in a difficult position this year, but I think they need a manager who's going to progress them further into Champions League and go on to glory, because the team should be winning.
That could be Jose. But then does he still have that? Like compared to Conte and
I think he's too pragmatic, Jose. In the knockout stages in the Champions League, he shuts up shop and sort of bites him in the back. You saw against PSG, Sevilla last year. So it's too pragmatic. Sometimes it works, but if you don't execute it right, you're going to get punished. And he's been punished a couple of times this last couple of years.
We're just going to change from one country to another. Now we're going to focus on PSG manager Thomas Tuchel. There's been reports in the French media that he's going to be signing a new contract, or he's been offered a new contract, and it's up to him to decide it or not. Sam, we touched on Tuchel earlier. Do you think him staying on as PSG manager is a good thing, considering it's his first year, but they've exited the Champions League at the round 16 stage after a poor performance against Manchester United?
Yeah, it's his first year, so we have to give him cut him a bit of slack. But what happened against PSG, against Man United, is unexcusable really. Like, you can't bottle a 2-0 away lead and then lose 3-1 at home. I'm not sure if it's the manager's fault or the players. The players might just have bottling DNA, so like Draxler, he was part of the Barcelona team, Thiago Silva. So I'm not sure it's just the manager, I think it's the players. So if Tuchel is going to stay, I think he might need a clear out of the team.
What's the mentality ingrained in the club?
Yeah.
You know, I think
the culture as well.
Yeah, they're probably scared now. I think they'll probably next season, if they do advance to the latter stages, it's just always going to be in the back of their mind.
Yeah.
It's something very difficult to get out because it's now happened 3 times. Chelsea 2014, Barcelona, and then this season. So it's something that is probably ingrained in the club. And they're sort of obsessed with it, and that can be a dangerous thing because when you become so pressurized or so ingrained to win something, that pressure can sometimes take a toll. And as you saw last week, it did take a toll on the players, and they just didn't look as free as they did at Old Trafford.
Like something that I can almost compare it to is with Abramovich at Chelsea, because until like 2012 when they did win it, he was obsessed to win the Champions League. But the difference between PSG and the Chelsea team is that Chelsea had the leaders to do it. They had Terry, Lampard, Drogba, actually called the core. Whereas when you look at PSG, and there was a report yesterday how like Neymar has stepped up to become the leader of the PSG dressing room. Obviously he was injured for the Man United game, so you have to take that into consideration. But then once you go past that, what are the leaders of Buffon, Thiago Silva, Verratti? What are these guys doing on the pitch to help the likes of Mbappe and the less and less like the I don't want to say lesser players, but the ones who you don't look upon in the times of trouble to then get them through the tough times and the most difficult points in the game, so then they can go through. And that's just what they lack.
Just a question for all of you. Apart from the mentality side of things, if PSG do want to progress to the latter stage of the Champions League, where else do you think they should be improving?
I think because they spent so much money on Neymar and Mbappe in that 1 or 2 summers, their signings have been quite short term. You know, Eliott said Buffon, that's 41, and the quality is just not there anymore. You might as well have. So they've had to shortcome because they've spent so heavily on Neymar and Mbappe. They've had to shortcome in other key areas like the goalkeeping position. Something that's been a real big problem since the Qatar takeover at PSG. You know, they've never really had a suitable number one. They went through Trapp, they went through Sirigu, they went through Areola, and now they're on to Buffon. So there's that lack of continuity and that real top-class keeper that would leave a legacy. You saw that with the signing of Juan Bernat, Choupo-Moting, even to an extent Paredes. Reports that were saying that they overpaid, and yeah, so it's difficult because they're making signings on a short-term basis whilst paying extortionate fees. Buffon's wages not cheap, and Bernat's quality, and they have Cazorla as well. Two both aren't very good options, whilst having Dani Alves, who they got from Juventus on a free. So it's an aging squad, when in reality they should have been building from the start, from the future. From the start. Thiago Silva's one at 34. He'll probably be out by next summer. And then who do you look for as a potential centre back for PSG? I know you have Kimpembe, but he can sometimes be erratic and a bit rash. Obviously that comes through experience, but I think to build as PSG, they had so much money, they should have built from the start by buying younger players. Whereas because they spent so much on Neymar and Mbappe, they've had to compromise in other areas. That's costly.
Just finally, Eliott, if PSG do want to win the Champions League, do they need a manager that's already won it?
They don't, because it would help because of the experience and the guidance he would bring, but not necessarily, because you have someone like Tuchel who plays like the football that likes Neymar and Mbappe will enjoy, and ones that the PSG fans will also
You said that, but I think anyone could play good football in Liga. Like you could even say to an extent.
But I'm talking about like
Unai Emery played good football in Liga last season when they were smashing Dijon.
Yeah, but I'm talking about in Champions League.
Yeah.
To almost like winning style, which is like Neymar will like to do, instead of being like Jose Mourinho when they went defensive to them on counter attack. Like that wouldn't suit like Neymar, because that doesn't bring in their.
But to be honest, I can't remember the last time. Well, probably 2011 Barcelona.
Yeah.
Last time a team played beautiful football in the final. Like even Real Madrid in recent years, they haven't played the greatest football, but in the finals, ultimately about winning.
Yeah, you need to get it done.
That concludes today's episode of the Football Hideout. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you feel. Thank you.